Good evening, YouTuber subscribers and friends and alike. It's Grant coming at you from just outside the Goodyear tire shop in Rapid City, South Dakota. Happy 9/11, if you can call it such a thing. Just a quick touch on 9/11. Like I said, last year's 9/11. That whole thing was kind of in my terms, a conspiracy. Either the government had a hand in it, or either way, they just let it happen. Every 20 years or so, they got to have something drastic happen in the American economy for stocks to go up and down, and for the economy whatsoever to shift. You know, that they like us going into war and so on and so forth. So 9/11 was one of those things. JFK's assassination was another. Pearl Harbor, of course, a long time ago, was another. It's the reason for getting in the war to begin with. It seems like about every 20 years they have to have something to keep our economy going. So the government knew that 9/11 was going to happen, and they let it happen. They even positioned George Bush at the time into a kindergarten classroom so he would come off looking pretty when everything else bad happened. That's all I'm going to say about 9/11. But anyway, this video is mainly about questions that I've been getting in both my emails and on the comments, like you all see in messages in YouTube and etc. on Facebook. A bunch of different questions about how and why I live in the car, so we'll go over it again. I've touched on this before, but here we go again. Number one tip that I have: my plates from Montana say too young to marry, phonetic alphabet, 2Y2M. When the cop calls it in, because lots of times when they see stuff up on your windows and whatever, they're going to call you in automatically because they think you're the scum of the earth or whatever, you know, you're suspicious. You could be a druggie, you could be somebody hiding from the law, and so that's why they call you in to see if you're wanted or the owner of the vehicle is wanted. When they call it in, it says they have to go by Montana, too young to marry, and call it over the radio. And once they say that in phonetic alphabet, they're going to realize that I have prior, or the owner of the car has prior law enforcement experience, because who would come up with that otherwise? And I've actually got lots and lots of high fives, and I just had a Rapid City police officer the other day kind of yell at me from across the street, "Hey man, nice plates," and so on when he drove by, so I know he read them, etc. You know, not like I park places that stand out or nothing. I'm just trying to show you some of the things I do to get by that I've learned over the couple of years of doing this. Another thing I usually do is I put work gloves right there in the corner, dead obvious, so it comes off as a working kind of guy. It's a mechanic's gloves. Next to that, and in the middle there, I have my Spark hat from Walmart that I used to wear when I was going to work at Walmart. I never threw it away, I just have it. I had 2 or 3 of them. And that along with the other Walmart shirts and vests and stuff that are on my seats there, give away the fact that I am working or was working at some point in time, because you don't want to come off as your homeless, non-working bum, so to speak, when you're trying to stealth camp. The other reason I left this hat I got, the USS Constitution, I got over east when I was in Boston, Massachusetts, but it looks like a veteran's hat. A lot of times it gets seen, I guess is the best word of it, as a veteran's hat. Like I'm not trying to say that I am or am not a veteran. It's just little things like that might give an idea that I'm a veteran, or that I work at Walmart, or that I'm a mechanic. Give off the options that I'm a working person in general, you know, hardworking, class, whatever, not homeless bum, etc. And we'll keep people from coming to bug you, so to speak, when you're out there stealth camping. Then I drive a newer, nicer ride, and I was lucky enough to be able to get a loan on. I say lucky enough, but now in the end it's going to come to bite me in the ass, but for right now it works out well. Originally, when I was starting to get used to the car and its dimensions, I accidentally tore some of the tire off on a curb like this. I think it was a tight turn when I either took the curb or hit a car or something. I forget what it was, a long time ago in Miles City. And I was going to get that replaced, but then the idea dawned on me, the light bulb went off, that right there gives me the perfect excuse to go park in a tire building like this, or parking lot like that. And then if I were to ever come get questioned, I can point out the fact that I was worried about my tire, and it may or may not work or something. It just happened, blah, blah, blah. It didn't just happen. I'm just saying that it could say that if I wanted to actually talk to the cops or the owner of the shop or whoever woke me up. So moving on real quick before the sun goes down on me. Hopefully it won't take that long. But these are worth the investment. They cost, I think like 10, I want to say it was like $20 for the set of 4 of them. These are well worth it, because you can leave your window cracked and don't have to worry about rain or people trying to stick their hand in the window. I mean, I could stick my hand in the window now, but it don't look like it when you have the thing down and you can crack it open a little bit more. So it's really well worth it overall, because if you can leave the windows cracked, you can reduce the condensation on your windshield. The other tip about condensation on your windshield is take the time and effort and put Rain-X on the outside and Rain-X on the inside of your windshield, both sides, and then that will keep the fog and condensation from gathering on your windshield at night from your sleeping in your car. It's not perfect, but it does a hell of a lot better job than leaving it the way it is. So we'll go over the basics of how I live, because I got that question asked the other day of how can I stand to live, which is like a bed and clothes and etc. And I'm really a minimalist, and the more and more you get into this, the more you realize the less crap you need to pack around with you. I'm under the whole, I go with the whole, everything that I add to this vehicle adds weight, which in turn lessens the fuel mileage overall. And as often as I traveled, it's well worth it to have the fuel mileage over the stuff I carry, so to speak. So this is just toiletries and odds and ends and everything. Pretty much a catch-all drawer. This is the only drawer, only small thing of all my crap that I have, except for that center console has some stuff in the pocket. Other than that, that's pretty much it. The reason why I picked the car, there are 3 different DC charger ports. There's that one right there. There's that one in the corner. As you can see, that's lit up in the corner, charging my other phone. And there's one here underneath the temperature controls for the passenger compartment. All I have to do when the car's on is lean up and adjust the heat or cool if I want in the back. If I have the car on, I don't do it that often, but it's nice to have the ability to idle it to warm up or whatever. But there's another DC hole right there for charging DC ports. Sometimes at night I just stay in the driver's seat so I can easily move from there if I needed to, and hook up to Wi-Fi and watch TV right there on my touchpad. Easily hidden away when you flip up the binder. Nobody can really see it from the window unless they really look down with their head down by the lock and look up and can maybe see it. And then of course I'm in the car half the time anyway, so I'm not too worried about somebody doing something to it. These are my high school tassel from graduation, my girlfriend's lucky rabbit's foot she gave me, and my dad's high school tassel, what's left of it, that yellow section. Of course, these are cords for watching TV. This black cord goes right into the audio cord for the touchpad, and then goes into the audio jack for the speakers for the car, and I have surround sound for my touchpad for my TV on a pretty easy fix. Going back to how it looks, this is the only jacket I have right now. I'm going to buy a better one for winter, but I've just hung my jacket up to fit in like with the biker crowd-ish, but mainly just hang it up to have it out of the way somewhere. As you can see, people can tell, it says Walmart. Then I have my reflective vest for when I was working at Labor Ready, and I still keep it for that reason. And then over there I found out the other day I had a extra actual smock or vest, they call it, from Walmart itself, that I should have probably returned, but too late now. And I just decided I'm going to keep it anyway, and my other Walmart shirt's underneath that. So the idea behind posting all that, like I said, is I can pull into a Walmart that doesn't even allow overnight camping, like say in California or over in the East Coast or wherever, and get away with it, because I can pull into the Walmart employee parking section where they work overnight. An employee walks out to smoke or whatever, they'll see that and we'll give it a second bat, even with stuff hung up and whatever over the windows, because they know of a few. I've actually learned when I was working at Walmart, there are a few people who RV and live in their cars and stuff and work at Walmart more than I thought they would. But anyway, that's the gist of that. Just some tips for how to fit in, kind of. Find out the other damage that happened to my car the other day. I was in the car and got woke up to a truck that went by. Somehow managed to, the trailer of it somehow managed to hit both that light and that light. So I taped it up the best I could for now, and I'm not going to worry about it too much. By the time I got out, of course, the guy with the pickup and trailer sped off and was gone because he realized that the trailer hit something. I'm just glad it didn't scruff up anything else. I'm really happy it didn't mess up the taillights or nothing. But he was long gone by the time I got up and realized what it was. And so on, but so I don't know, I kind of looked out, but kind of not, as you can see. Recent accident stuff. I put Reflectix on the windows. Eventually I'm going to cover that back up again with black on this side so you can't see the actual silver part. But I realized last time when I had the black on the one side that it got a little bit hotter in the car than when you leave the Reflectix pure silver. Reflectix to reflect the sun's heat. So during the summer, I'm just going to leave it like that for now. And then in the winter, I'll tape everything up black so it fits in. So far I haven't had any problems with any cops trying to pull you over for that or nothing. And you can barely see it anyways. You can see, you can kind of tell, but at the same time, I don't really stealth camp all that much anymore. I more kind of try to pick quiet areas like this. I'm not gonna stay here tonight, but in general, this is a nice pull-off parking spot that one could camp and even pull in a whole trailer on this side street that they've made this street just big enough just for that. And it, because of the railroad track, it comes back in. So it makes the perfect pull-off. So if you look for spots like this, you'll be 5 or 6 feet away from the traffic going by at night. Although you might stand out a little bit more to a cop or something if there's no other cars around. There's a few cars in that parking lot, but I run that chance when you park in places like this, but I'd much rather park someplace like that than have to worry about stealth camping in a neighborhood or etc. And have to deal with it. I'm gonna try to show you the rest of it. It's getting pretty dark in here. This is another reason why I went with a car over a cargo van when I got my lease for this. Plus, like I was saying in that one video, when you do cargo vans or passenger vans or anything, they tend to be high mileage by the time you get a used one because they're used as work vans for their first owners work, and then something like this isn't. This car, first owner was not the high school principal, but the principal and the team used it. The high school owned it. So it was pretty well maintained. At least that's as far as I know on it anyway. So this is my bed. I keep the one section for my bed, and I only need a little bit of a fold-up mattress, foam mattress. And you just get used to it over time, and over time it doesn't even matter anymore too much in terms of what you sleep on or how and stuff. I have a body pillow that works a lot of different ways. I can use that as body pillow, or I could use it, extend it across there to hold the pillow in place. Behind that I have a green sleeping bag that's the medium-sized sleeping bag in my sleeping system, and behind that I've got a black sleeping bag that's the heavier one to go in deeper weather. I just keep them back there for now though. And then behind the seat I have my clean clothes behind the seat over there in that corner, and that's all I need is that section. I leave this seat up so I can basically recline here when I want to in the back. Ow. Like so, and enjoy my movie or whatever, just holding it up on the phone. Or I can watch it from the TV over there if you really want to. But that way I'm just not hanging out in the front driver's section. Sometimes I do, but a lot of times I go back here and just keep to myself. That way people don't see movement or don't see you sitting around in your car all night long or all day or whatever and start to worry about you, like the way the society goes. Anyway, if you leave this light on too long or you leave the doors open too long and the dome lights come on, there's a section up front where you can turn all the lights on when the door's open or not. I haven't shut off right now, but if you left this on for too long, it'll go for 15 minutes and it'll shut the lights off for you automatically, which I like about this car. And really, I've got a touchpad, a tablet, and 2 phones, and this car will charge the tablet and the phone, or just the 2 phones. It'll charge 2 of the 3 items, but you try to plug in all 3, it'll start to weaken the battery for starting back up, and it'll shut itself. It shuts the DC chargers off before the battery weakens, but you can tell that everything quits charging. So that right there, as you can see, that cop went down. There is the jail way down at the end. That's where he's going to. He must be hauling somebody off. Anyway, I keep Reflectix up on the windows for the heat, and then just mainly so people can't see me, so I can change in here and do whatever. That panel right there is for this door. I just have the door open at the moment, so I don't. And when I have the car idling, I also have these vents that are already pre-built into the car as a passenger car. So at times when I do want to waste the gas to do it, I can cool the whole car down real quick, or heat it up real quick, which is going to come in handy in the wintertime. That's nice to have, and passenger vans will have that. Your cargo van won't. So it's almost better to go with something like this. And then you fit in more with a soccer mom wagon like I have. Then if you have a cargo van, etc., I can park anywhere I want in this. I can park in residential areas and stuff like that, and people don't really look at it just because it's a newer looking car, and then it's your classic soccer mom wagon kind of thing. That's the purpose behind buying it. Something long enough to be 6 feet wide lengthwise, so I can put a bed in it and still haul people around, and etc. So that's pretty much it. I have a little bit more clothing and miscellaneous stuff underneath between the seats here, and I use this blanket here and put it across those 2 seats when I'm in here for privacy in front. Then if I really need privacy, I can put the body pillow up top of that, and it covers everything in the front section. I used to have a curtain in front, but that got annoying as hell, and then people got all scared about it. I got called in once that some woman thought I was going to grab her and rape her or something when she saw a curtain behind the seats. So anymore, when I'm in here, I use the blanket and a body pillow sometimes. Otherwise, I'm just like wave at people, and I don't really care because the society, you know, they can do whatever they want. They can call the cops in on me if they want to, and I'll move. I mean, my home is on wheels, so no point in fighting anybody. Just move down the street where nobody else cares again. Eventually, enough of us van dwellers and car campers and so on take over the world, then people will notice that this is a different kind of lifestyle that could be adjusted to be worth living. As more solar comes available and easier to buy and etc., this train will catch on, I think, and then the government will back off on their ordinances and etc. and let us all live peacefully is the hope. Anyway, but until then, we just kind of have to deal with it. Anyway, last thing I wanted to point out is when I did ride shares, I decided to do without the boards that I used to have underneath my fold-up bed, so that way I can roll this bed up, and I can have access to this first layer if you want to have ride shares, or if they need more people or more bags or whatever, I can roll my whole thing up and put all my stuff in the back, have the seats up, and then they have access to up here to ride along in their bags and so on. And then my stuff is kept way back there, and of course the valuables. Any valuables I have to keep way back there that are too big to keep up there with me, I keep way down in the bottom in the cargo thingy that's in the back. And then pile up my useless crap on top of that. So that way I would hear them or whatever trying to get to anything. But because you can't trust anybody these days, seems like. But I'm just saying that's what I would do if I was packing people, etc. But that's how I live. This is why I've chosen to live this way. I live pretty minimalist. I just have the roll-up bed. I make chairs out of what's already here and furniture and stuff. I don't need any of that, you know, in terms of a stove or fridge or any of that kind of thing. If I was going to keep this car, I'm about 50-50 on keeping it because I'm going into the expediting and cargo van living. If I start doing that, then I'm not going to have a use for it. But if I don't or whatever, I may have to hold on to it, etc. So I'm about 50-50 on being able to keep it or just pay the loan off either way. I'm not sure yet on that part. But if I was going to keep it, the first thing I would do is spend the $300 for a car starter. That way you can just use the key fob from in your blankets or back here and start the car and have everything set up to cool the car or heat the car right from the vents, which is really nice. You know, I'd like to have that. And I'd also like to have a PA system / CB radio all hooked up with a PA horn in the front and the back. That way, if anybody comes up and knocks on the door, you can talk to them through the PA. And literally just click the mic and talk, you know, really loudly through the PA. Like, you know, if it was a member of the general public, it'd be like, you know, I'm on a public street, leave me alone. If it's the cops or whatever, it'd be a lot more polite than that. And it would surprise them that I had a PA in there. But sometimes it's annoying as hell to get dressed first, maybe before you got to come out and greet them or whatever the hell, or hear them knock on your door all night long, etc. Which I've had happen a few times, and it's going to happen to anybody when you get on the road, doesn't matter what you're driving. So eventually down the line, you're going to find some curious cop that wonders why you parked in a spot that you parked at, no matter where you parked. Going to come along, or you're going to get the attention of the general public. And they're going to be like, what's that guy doing here? And then they call in to check on you if the car doesn't move, etc. It's just going to happen. It happens to people all the time. The only way I think that it wouldn't happen is if you really stealthed out like a Lincoln Navigator or some kind of $80,000, $100,000 ride. You know, that belongs in somebody's big-ass mansion or something. And then people might leave you alone, maybe, if they don't see you in there. But the whole point is they don't care what all you do on the windows and everything else, as long as they don't see movement in the car. They see movement or lights in the car, etc., and do something that draws their attention. That's when you start to have problems. But I'm going to go back to Wi-Fi source so I can upload this. Unfortunately, Goodyear doesn't have a Wi-Fi source. It's locked out. Well, it does, but it's locked out. It's password protected, so I just pulled over here to kind of give you a decent spot that you could park next to a tire shop and a pull-off, and just to say, kind of look for these streets that have a pull-off like this. And you risk a 50-50 chance of a cop coming along wondering why that car is there all by itself out here in the middle of the night, etc. You risk that chance, but at the same time, if I'm parked legally here, there's no signage that says that I can't park here overnight, etc. I would just stay in the car, let them bang and bang and bang and flashlight all night long if they want to. If they break my window, they better have a damn good reason. Because as long as I'm parked legally, they can't say much. Right there, they could say that I'm supposed to be up against the curb, so in order to park here and stay here tonight, I'd have to get out up against the curb, so they can't say I'm out in the middle of the street or etc. As a safety reason for is why I shouldn't be parked there. But outside of that, if I got closer to the curb and then there's no signage that says I can't stay here overnight, all the way up and down the street, check your blocks all the way up and all the way down, then you can stay in your car all night long because you're completely legal. As long as that car is legal, so the tags are legal, and your current city that you're in does not have an ordinance against sleeping in your car or people camping or whatever, etc., does not have some kind of a loitering camping ordinance on the streets, then you're completely legal. Like I know where Rapid City is, and I could stay here all night long if I wanted to. And you know, there's no point in talking to cops if you don't have to. So as long as I knew I was completely legal, I would just let them bang and bang and bang. Nothing they can do about it. Eventually they'll give up and decide to go to something else, because they know you're in there, but there's nothing they can do. You don't want to talk to them. It's a consensual encounter, and etc. So now if they called the plates and the owner of the car was wanted or something, then it becomes not a consensual encounter. It becomes a detention, in which case you better answer the door, or they'll probably break your window. You just kind of have to chance it for yourself and hear what they're saying as to what to go by. But this video is pretty dang long at 21 minutes. I don't know. Hopefully I'll get a Wi-Fi source that can upload it tonight. Like and subscribe. Leave comments. Hopefully this answered everybody's questions as to why and how I live minimalist. I don't need no fridge or stove or none of that. I just live out here. You know, if I want food, there's food right there, etc. So I'd really just I'd add a car starter, and maybe if I was doing it long term, I'd add a 100-watt solar panel on top. But I would probably go with a Goal Zero unit up top, or else do Goal Zero on the dashboard and put the solar panel on the dashboard and Goal Zero on the passenger side underneath. Just something big enough to run a fridge, and then I just do an electric cooler type of fridge, because that's handy every now and then to have something like that. But outside of that, I don't think I'd add to it. Like and subscribe, leave comments, and I'll catch you on the flip. Peace.